might be true.
Mommy?
Beavers really did enter their homes underwater. Now what would he do?
This is bad, but I can think of 56 different ways it could be worse.
My hat.
57! Want me to list them all? 1. It could be raining.
Oh. At the next trail crossing, George had to pick a direction. But all the trails looked alike. George had never been this excited to see his own garbage before.
Well, hi there. Can I help you? I gotcha. I'll go get my rescue gear. Good work, George.
My hat!
You know, George brought me right to you. He is quite a tracker.
Hiking was exciting. George couldn't understand why more people didn't do it.
George is a monkey, and he can do things that we can't do. They lost their map, then George had to figure out how to get back. Christina is making maps for us to use to find a treasure. Like Curious George, you guys are going to have to try to use landmarks to figure out your way. Everyone's going to start out with just one map, and then you're going to try to get to where the X marks the spot, and that's where you're going to find your next map. Tell me if you see any landmarks. I see the trash cans right over there. The 2 trash cans are on the map.
Just to charge it.
They found the pole on the map, so they will go to the right towards the X. Those 2 trees. We found the map tied to an elephant. Nico found the next map. Where do you think we are now? On the map that you see and down here.
Over here, and
I trash can. And I see Atlantis over there.
yeah,
There are 5 cages, and the X was on the one farthest away.
Don't change the Pokemon.
The treasure was chunk.
it's important to know how to use a map because people will be able to find their way and they won't be able to get lost very easily.
For more fun with Curious George and his friends, visit your local library and read more Curious George adventures. Or visit the Curious George website at pbskids.org.
Curious George introduces children to math and science concepts. At pbsparents.org, you can help your child's early math development with the PBS Parents Guide to Early Math. All the tools you need are at pbsparents.org.
I hardly ever use the thing myself. Hard drive.
What time are you going to
Sure. No rush.
This program was made possible by Rainforest Cafe, proud sponsor of PBS Kids, reminding you that reading
Oh, you need
and
that.
creative thinking are great ways to let your imagination run wild.
Do you know what? Sunlight travels 93 million miles to ripen and dry the fruits we need to grow strong and healthy bodies. I thought you'd be curious about that. Sunmade proudly supports PBS Kids.
Try and get as light as possible.
Proud supporter of PBS Kids. Who know kids should act their age.
contributions to your PBS station. And from viewers like you, thank you.
Yes, kids.
Huh?
Wind it down to the end of the television there.
That's a neat word.
Join us again tomorrow when we do it all again, right here on Channel 2.
My name is Judy Middleburg, and I live in Southwest Ranches, which is in the Davie Cooper City area, because no one knows where Southwest Ranches is. I don't know how long I've been a sustainer, probably forever. I don't think that I'm anything special or extraordinary. I think I'm just a regular person doing a normal, average thing, and I think we all have to give back. And this is someplace that I like to give back to. It's just something that feels right and natural, and that's why I do it.
Tonight on 2HD at 9, Side Investigations of the History Detectives. Then at 10, it's the fabulous Make 'em Laugh with the Knockabouts Slip on a Banana Peel. All tonight on 2HD. Los Angeles. Funding for this presentation is made possible by the Freeman Foundation of New York, Silver Vermont, and Honolulu. The Newman's Home Foundation and the John D. and Catherine T.
That isn't
MacArthur
Daddy
Foundation.
coming down right here.
Daddy's a superstar. He comes and he goes.
A new deal between America and Russia to cut strategic nuclear
One more
weapons.
down here, look.
We resolved to reset U.S.-Russian relations. This starts with the reduction of our own nuclear arsenals.
Hundreds arrested in China after riots in Xinjiang. At least 140 are killed. Not allowed to land, the Honduran military blocked the main airport, keeping the exiled president out. Welcome to BBC World News, broadcast to our viewers on PBS in America, also around the globe. My name's Mike Hampton. Coming up later for you. Architect of the Vietnam War, also champion of the poor. Former US Defense Secretary Robert McNamara dies at 93. And a London landmark, it's a new art installation. The public get an hour of fame.
Hello. Hi, Mama. Hi. Say Mama. Mama.
Hello to Barack Obama
Mama.
came to office talking of pressing the reset button on relations with Moscow. At the start of his two-day
Mama.
summit with Russia's President Dmitry Medvedev, we've been seeing the first signs of just how, indeed whether, that
say
might
Mama?
work. The US and Russia have pledged major cuts in their nuclear arsenals, though both will still retain huge stocks. They acknowledge differences on Georgia, for instance,
Another one?
but insisted there was more to unite their two countries than divide them. From Moscow, BBC's Rupert Wingfield-Hayes.
Nope. Go on.
After nearly 5 hours of negotiations, the two presidents emerged into the gilded splendor of the Kremlin Palace. And yes, they did have an agreement. These are the papers that should lead to the slashing of America and Russia's nuclear arsenals.
Wow.
We've taken important steps forward to increase
His life is
security
fun.
and to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. This starts with the reduction
Orthodox
of
church and
nuclear
everything.
arsenals. As
Their
the
walls and
world's
stuff
two
were
leading nuclear powers, the United States and Russia
Yeah.
must lead by example.
President Medvedev was only slightly less effusive.
Это базовый элемент нашей взаимной
The
безопасности.
agreement we reached today is vital for our mutual security. Our teams have done a fantastic job, and we have reached a good compromise. The figures
give
we are
Mama a
announcing
kiss.
will lead to
Mama.
a new binding treaty.
Mama.
When the Cold War ended,
Mama.
Russia and America agreed to scrap thousands of their
Mama.
nuclear missiles.
You can say
Old
Mama.
bases like this one were left to rot. As you can see, this place
Mama.
is today completely abandoned.
Mama.
This here was once a missile silo.
Mama.
Missiles gone, and it's now full of water. This place is, if you like, a symbol of what
Mama.
the START Treaty was all about.
Mama.
The START I treaty was a real success, but it still left Russia and America with huge nuclear arsenals. In 1990, Russia had over 11,000 strategic warheads. Today, it has just under 3,000. At the end of the Cold War, America had more than 13,000 warheads. Now it has just over 2,000. The new treaty will cut both to around 1,600 warheads. The agreement between the two presidents today will be hailed by both sides as a real breakthrough. But there have been many false starts before in Russia-US relations. The question now is whether these two old Cold War adversaries can really escape the past to become partners. Rupert Winfield-Hayes, BBC News in Moscow.
Let's move you on.
Right, now if you
The Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Liberia has recommended that President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf be banned from public office for 30 years. This is because of her alleged role in one of the country's civil wars. Mrs. Johnson Sirleaf, you're seeing her in these pictures with the British Prime Minister Gordon Brown, established a commission to look into Liberia's successive civil wars. She's told the commission she gave money to rebel leader Charles Taylor, but for humanitarian purposes. NATO-led forces in Afghanistan say 6 American soldiers have been killed in 2 separate bomb attacks. Officials say 4 of the soldiers were killed in northern Afghanistan, 2 others in the south of the country. Staff working for American-funded AIDS treatment programs in Uganda are saying for the past 3 months they've been told not to treat new adult patients because their long-term funding is uncertain. The head of the program has told the BBC this could mean patients sharing drugs or taking lower doses, which could make the virus more resistant. First, the protests, now the crackdown. Chinese authorities are saying they've arrested hundreds of ethnic Uyghurs a day after rioting in the western region of Xinjiang that killed at least 140 people and injured as many as 800. The violence is centered on the city of Urumqi, and now state media say police have dispersed a crowd of more than 200 protesters in a second city, Kashgar. Xinjiang's Uyghur population is Muslim and have long been tensions with the Han Chinese community. The BBC's Chris Hall has this report from Shanghai.
This was the moment ethnic Uyghurs in western China turned violent. They attacked vehicles throughout the city of Urumqi. Property 2 was a target, mainly shops and homes owned by Han Chinese.
Beat her up, Taylor.
Some ran to escape the violence. Others caught up in it and sold each other. The Han, the country's majority ethnic group, are a minority in Xinjiang, and the victims of the Uyghurs' violence, state media says. These are pictures China's government wants the world to see. It's branded these demonstrators criminals. Protests are not unusual in this country, but these are clashes on a scale seldom seen. This YouTube footage appears to show the start of the demonstration. We can't be sure where or when it was shot. The government's blaming separatists, Uyghurs who want to break away from China, for stirring up the trouble.
Forces from inside and outside of China aggressively operated to attack China's Communist Party and the government. They also arrested people to carry out demonstrations. They severely undermine the unification of ethnic groups.
More than 800 people were injured in the clashes, the government says. It's still not clear.
You smell cheesy.
Protesters.
You smell like you've been eating plenty cheesy.
Outside China, Uyghur exiles have condemned Beijing's assertion that the riot was an attempt to provoke turmoil inside its borders.
Chinese government have adopted this method to enable all Uyghur ethnic demonstration and protest, even if it's very difficult to label it as a terrorist act.
Tonight, the city of Urumqi is reported to be quiet.
Kayla?
Hundreds of people have been
Kayla?
detained. The security
Kayla?
forces appear
Say Dada.
no chances.
Dada.
BBC News, Shanghai.
Dada.
Just a footnote to all this, the BBC's Quentin Somerville has just arrived in Urumqi, capital of Xinjiang, and site of some of the most serious violence. He said this.
Say
We're
mama.
right in the very centre of Urumqi, Xinjiang's capital, just by People's Square. As you can see, it's very quiet here.
Say mama.
It's late at night, but Chinese cities are never usually this quiet. The reason why, there is a curfew in force. Just have a look behind me. You can see lined up